Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Amen. Blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Ammo sadanto suchedoye valapuji samyak samputoshe. Wushang shen shen wei miao fa, bai qian wan xue nan sao yu. Wo jin jian wan de shou shi, yan qie lai zhen shi yi. Supreme and wondrous Dharma, subtle and profound, rarely is encountered, even in billions of eons. But now we see it, hear it, and accept it reverently. May we truly understand the Buddha's actual meaning. Venerable Master, Dharma friends, welcome to our Dharma talk tonight. Let us say that as we begin, and say that the Kombu people practiced and of the Ugambi language region practiced spiritual connections to land and to all creation in this location for tens of thousands of years. Today, we acknowledge them as traditional custodians and original storytellers of these lands. We offer our respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging, and to all First Nations people whose sovereignty was never ceded. 就说空不merry人在他们祖先土地上修炼着他们与土地和万物的精神联系已有数万年。今天我们承认他们是这些土地的传统建立人和原始讲故事的人，并且向他们过去、现在和新兴的长老们表示敬意，以及主权未从被所有第一民族人民们表示敬意。All right, welcome to tonight's Dharma talk. You're going to keep track of the new people who want to come in. Right? So I have to do that. Okay. What we're about tonight is answering questions about refuge and precepts. There are people who have requested to become disciples of the Buddha, and the Buddha's birthday is coming up. So here at the Gold Coast Dharma Realm, we're going to be conducting our ceremony, traditional ceremony for the 3 refuges and the 5 precepts. So let's establish our logistics for tonight. I'm going to be speaking in English only. Is that right? Good. Even the folks here have their headphones, so you can hear what I'm saying in Chinese. That's good. I appreciate that. So that saves us lots of time. I noticed that there are folks online from, let's see here. We have friends here from Malaysia, from, let's see, Oslo, Norway, from Malaysia, from Kuala Lumpur. We have friends here from the Gold Coast, lots of Malaysian friends. And we have friends listening in from Shandong, from Liaoning in Manchuria. We have friends from Beijing, and where else? Let's see here. Shandong province, Anhui province, Hebei province. Let's see here. 还有新加坡, Beijing, Hebei, Tangshan. Wow, the whole world is here. Changsha, Hunan, Shandong, Harbin, Manchuria. Shenzhen, and from far away Brisbane. Okay, wow, the whole world. That's great. All right. Now the difficulty here is that it would be great if you could ask questions. Maybe you don't even know what to ask if you don't know what's happening. So I don't want to explain things that you already know, and I don't want to talk about things that won't be useful to you, who will be taking part in the Sangwe Wuqi. So we'll have to meet halfway. We'll have to compromise. And I will show you the document that I follow as I sit here and say, Gui Fo, Gui Fa, Gui Seng, take refuge in the Buddha Dharma Sangha. I'll show you what, sit here. I'm the speaker here. We'll have the speaker view. There I am. Hi. So I'll show you the procedure that we follow, and we do a very traditional refuge and precepts. When you become a disciple of the Buddha, there's a lot of variety in how that happens, and I have seen many different styles of giving the refuge ceremony. I've seen monks who take a jingping, they take a vase with water and a willow branch, and they go, Gui Fo, splash, Gui Fa, splash, Gui Seng, and if the water hits you, you've taken refuge. So everybody's like, splash me, you know, and that's it. And then they say, congratulations. Now I need a red envelope from you and you and you and you. I've seen that. And it seems pretty pointless. People don't know what happened. They're not certain if anything is different. Master Hua, on the other hand, our founder, was very formal, taking refuge. He went from step to step to step to step to step. And yet, in the ceremony, he was very open to wanting people to understand what this was, what had happened. The result of taking refuge with Master Trinh Hua was you always felt like something profound had transpired. When it was over, you definitely had a feeling that you were different. I took refuge in 1973. Yeah. Do the math. And what Master Hua said was, today you can feel as if the person who you were to this day has gone. And today you are reborn, and there is a new person starting from today, a disciple of the Buddha. You have joined the Buddha's family. So how important is that? Wow, reborn. And because I came into becoming a disciple of the Buddha with lots of bad habits, so I was very happy to leave that old person behind and to become a new person. The old person I left behind was one that probably wouldn't want, but the Buddha wouldn't want that person in the family. I had lots of bad habits. So the opportunity to renew, to start over, to try harder, at this time with a purpose and with a sense of belonging, that was very attractive to me. So that's, if I had anything like an overview, a piece of advice to give the new people, could I, first of all, how many people, now this is not this week, it's next, the week after this, when we have our ceremony, How many people are planning to take refuge on that day? Okay, 1, 2. Jin Fusher, you've already taken refuge. I know that. So, okay, how many people are taking precepts on that day? 1, 2, 3. Good. Okay. Now, those of you online, I can't see your hands, so that's okay. This is information for you. Okay, that's a perfect number. That's just fine. If I had any overview of something to say, it would be the refuge ceremony is what you make it. What do I mean by that? Some people sign up, they learn how to bow, they say, you know, Nang Shi, yes, I can uphold it. They say Jin Xing Shou to the end of my life. And yet when it's over, they leave the Buddha hall and go back to their life and nothing changes. They forget it. They get their Gui Zheng, their little booklet with Sherpa's picture and their new Dharma name. Your Dharma names will have a Qin in front of it, Qin something, Qin something. But it doesn't mean anything to them. And they forget it within 24 hours. There are other people who are right beside them on the bowing cushion, who bow, who say the same words, yes, I can uphold it. To the end of my life, they say. And when they leave the Buddha hall, they feel profoundly renewed. It's kind of, the feeling is if you were in the ocean, treading water, and you knew that it was your movements that kept you afloat, and there was no track. The ocean is just waves on all sides. But when you took refuge, it was as if this solid ground came up out of the water and your feet had a place to rest. And you could stop the motions because why? You had found solid land. That's the feeling for other people. And I do hope that that is all of you, that taking refuge with the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, and Master Hua added the fourth one, and the precepts, even though he didn't mean you have to take the 5 precepts. So if you only take refuge and do not take the 5 precepts, you still, he said, Gui Fo, Gui Fa, Gui Sum, Gui Ji. That's the way Master Hua did it. And without specifying. If you say those things and in your heart, you open to it. It's not complicated. You just say, yes, I accept. I open to that new identity, to that new sense of belonging, that you will find that ground under your feet. You will have that feeling of solid land. I don't have to struggle anymore because I now belong to something. They say, Shifang Changzhu, the eternally abiding Buddha Dharma of the 10 directions, the eternally abiding Buddha Dharma and Sangha of the 10 directions. So I think we can, if we open our hearts to this experience, we can expect that will be that feeling. I look forward to it. Because why? The teacher, when we do the ceremony, Sherpa's photo will be here. We'll put Master Hua's photo on the table. And my Dharma name and Chin Fusher's Dharma name is Guo, the fruit of the first word. I am Guo Zhen, the fruit of the truth. You are taking refuge through us, through our generation, the Guo generation. You become Qin. That's the next name in the line of disciples. And that means Sherpa is your grand teacher. Master Hua is your grand teacher. That is a true refuge. Sherpa is an actual Shanjish, Kalyana Mitra, a good spiritual friend. He is someone upon whom you can rely. What you'll be getting through Master Hua is the real Dharma from the Buddha. Generation after generation, no mistake. That is not always the most comfortable. It's often inconvenient to follow Shihu's style of teaching, but it's the real thing. It's genuine, accept no substitute. There's no compromising with Master Hua's version of the refuges. But what you get is something reliable. And he, if I had to say, what does Shihu point to that is the key and the secret to success in your new Buddhist identity, I would say it's the mind. More correctly, it's the mind ground, Shindi Father. That's what Master Hua always pointed us back to. And is that something that you have to speak Chinese to understand, or you have to come from Asia? No. In the West, we would probably say it's pretty close to the conscience. Jiminy Cricket from Pinocchio, he always said, always let your conscience be your guide. Donna, did you ever see Jiminy Cricket? Yeah, so always let your conscience be your guide. What does that mean? It means listen to yourself, listen to your mind. Shihu would say, you know, Ban Qiu Jiu Ji, Ban Qiu Zhu Ji. He would say, Wei Guang Fan Chao, listen inside, listen internally. And if you can find your own internal voice and listen to it, it won't lead you astray. It won't lead you wrong, especially once you take refuge. So let your conscience be your guide. Is that the same as the Shindi? It's close. It's the right direction. What Shindi, that is the key to what Master Hua pointed to, means what? It means that the mind is like a gardener. And it very happily will grow whatever seeds we plant. If we plant crooked, distorted seeds, we get crooked, distorted fruits. If we plant straight, lighted seeds, we get straight, bright fruit. And that mind is bit by bit by bit. The longer we cultivate, the longer we listen to our minds, the clearer it becomes. And the easier it is to pick out the mind as the place to look for guidance. That is where this real energy, the real power lives, is in the mind. And it's so easy. You think, oh my goodness, there's so many sutras, there's so much, you know, it's, what do they say? Wang Yang Xing Tan, the Fofa Ru Dahai. The Buddha Dharma is like the ocean. There's just, you have to sigh and you never cross it over. It's from where we are, it's not that complicated. In fact, we make it too complicated. It's closer than you think. It just means don't become like a defense lawyer arguing for what you know to be wrong, right? It's so easy to in the world of desire, the world of the marketplace, it's easy to cheat ourselves and think, well, you know, it doesn't really matter. A little lie, you know, what's the difference? Well, it's a big difference. That first thought is the mind ground. And the longer we cultivate, when we take refuge, you know, in a week, you get it's almost like you get if the mind ground was an app, you download the app and it's on your mind phone and it's there functioning and you get a connection with your mind. So that's what we're about. All right. So I've been jabbering on here. Let's take a look here. And now, having said what I said, any questions so far? Who's got a question? I hope somebody does. Questions online are also okay. Now, we have been, if not, 没有了, okay. If you just like me talking, what if I don't cover the question that you have? Uh-oh. So here is our new ceremony.太小了，太小了，要大一点。Okay. See if we can do it. Oh, wow, that's helpful. But it's all kind of distorted here. What is this? We have the books that were printed in Malaysia a long time ago. They used to be really good. This is the Sangui Wujie de Yishi. This is the ceremony for refuge and precepts. We being myself, Jin Yongshi, who was here not long ago, also Jin Yanshi, and also Jin Chuanshi. We have been renewing, remodeling, re-editing our old refuge book, reading over it and finding the places that were really opaque, really hard to understand. And there were a lot of those places. So we've been rebuilding a lot of it and editing it. So we start out and we don't have to request the master. I'll just come in. We're kind of shorthanded these days. So I start out, and the Wayno Shi, probably Jin Fu Shi, will say, where I can read the English if need be from the spine. We come in and we give you your Dharma name. We tell you your Dharma name, and you will also have seen it on your Guichang. You'll have a new Dharma name. And I say, Gu Cheng Fa Ming, say your Dharma name, and you will say Di Zi Guo or Di Zi Qin with your new Dharma name. I will say your Dharma name, you'll say disciple Qin something. Okay, we'll do that, we'll practice that because we say that a lot. You invite me to be your refuge master. Okay, I agree. Then I'll give instructions. And this has been remodeled. This has been updated a lot. Because it used to be pretty hard to understand. This is a Dharma talk, a quick Dharma talk. The Buddha appears. What the Dharma talk does is it explains what does it mean to take refuge and what are the three jewels, Buddha Dharma Sangha. Okay, we explain it. You're all there kneeling and your knees are really painful. Ouch. I don't like to kneel. Are you done? I hope you don't translate that because that's too loud. We're kneeling there. So, okay, the next thing that happens is we all invite the invisible Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha of the 10 directions and the 3 periods to come. And we say, we sing this, and this is kind of magic. There's no apology, it's magic. We invite the real Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha of the 10 directions invisibly to come. And if we're sincere, they are just waiting for people to take it seriously. So they arrive. Okay. And so there's a whole formula here. Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. And then at the end, we invite the gods, the dragons, the eightfold pantheon, the Tianlong Babu, and the Dharma protectors to draw near. Here they are. We say, Xianghua Ying, Xianghua Ying, Xianghua Qing, Di Zi Zhen Dang Yi Xin Feng Qing, Huang Ming Wei Shang Ji Wei Zhu Tian Fang Shi Si Wang Tian Long Ba Bu, Qie Lan Tu Di Wu Jie Shen Wang Jin Gang Li Shi You Xian Ren Qi, Wei Yan Bu Wei Ban Shi Jian Dan Wu Bu Wei. We invite who? The Devas, the presence of the gods to come in, Brahma, Lord Chakra, dragons. We want the dragons to come and protect, Sangharama guardians, local earth spirits, Vajra warriors. So we do that 3 times. They come in and we say, okay, You have invited the monks to give the ceremony. You've invited the spiritual beings to come, and their light is shining on us. So we make the talk, we say, they've come, they're shining their light, but because of karma, because of everything that we've done in lifetimes past, we bring with us. If we were brand new, if our souls were just starting, the light of the three jewels would shine right on our nature, and we would become members of the Buddhist family right away. Unfortunately, we have karma that covers over our bodies and minds. That's a reality. And so the Buddha is very clear about this. So he gives us a method to clean away that karma. It's called repentance and renewal. So we're going to ask you to repent of a list of offenses that are awful, things that people do, killing your father and mother, shedding the Buddha's blood, things like that. And for sure, we know that you haven't done these things in this life, but there are those who have, so you can repent on their behalf. Meanwhile, the lesser offenses that we have done also get cleaned away. So that's what's next. We say, from time without beginning to this present life, I've destroyed the three jewels, acting as an achantika, a disbeliever, criticized great sutras, cut off prajna, etc. So these terrible things, we repent. We do them in Chinese and English. And you bow and you say these things, and it really does wipe away eons of offenses. This repentance dharma is very powerful. Okay, so now having cleaned up, we say, I will now teach you the traditional time-honored method of taking refuge. So I tell you about contemplations. This is really important. 首先，你们要打开心量，其广大慈悲之心；其次，观想你所有的亲友，包括你的父母、兄弟姐妹、配偶、伴侣、朋友、敌人、动物、宠物甚至于昆虫等等昆虫以广大慈悲之心，将他们想进入你的心中。See how we've improved this? This is all new stuff, right? We want you to make contemplations. Look with your mind's eye. From the mind ground. Expand the measure of your mind, bring up thoughts of unconditional kindness. Contemplate relationships, parents, siblings, partners, spouses, friends, enemies, pets, mosquitoes, with thoughts of kindness. Bring them all into your room. Okay, that's the first step. Powerful. Next, 然后呢，观想维持你生命的无轻物，包括我们居住的地球自然的环境。构成我们身体的地水火风四大，我们住的建筑物，我们的车子、衣物等，其一也有广大慈悲之心，将它们观想进入你的心中。Okay, this is all new. This is new material. The inanimate items that support life, the planet, environment, earth, air, fire, water, bodies, buildings, vehicles, clothing, personal articles. And bring them into your mind. Okay, so far so good. Y'all following? So this is way better than before when it was just qing fei qing jing. You know, that was the language that was used. Okay, now we make three vows. The three vows are: I vow to do no harmful deeds, not even little ones. I vow to do all good deeds, even small ones. And I vow to help every living being. None of whom will I refuse to teach. When we make those three contemplations, then we get what is called sangui chiti. That's, we get what's called the substance of the precepts. The essence of the refuges. That's what it is. Okay, so, and then we say the formula, Buddha Dharma, you say your name, 弟子亲什么，弟子过什么。金星受为衣服，金星受为法。Right? As long as I live, I take refuge. As long as I live, I take refuge. As long as I live, I take refuge. And with the precepts. And then we bow. Okay, this is the heart of the ceremony. And Then we do it 3 times shorter. We expand it to do it 3 times again. So taking refuge in the Buddha, rather give up my life, etc. So there's a formula. This is where Master Hua's version was so much different than others, because this is the traditional long form of the refuges. And in doing this, things change. We become different, right? So whole ceremony like that, going on. Okay, taking refuge in the precepts. All right. Now, section 8 is Faya. And we have shortened this a lot. We've made this more abbreviated. It's the Bodhisattva's 4 vows. We say, 众生无边誓愿度, living beings are boundless, even so I vow to save them. Afflictions are infinite, I vow to end them. Dharma methods are measureless, I vow to learn them. Buddha's highest goal, I vow to realize it. Okay, just like that. Oops. Okay, good. We've got projectors are working on both sides. Okay. All right, so there we go. Now, that's the refuge ceremony. That's it, step by step by step. Okay. And we have changed the language a lot and made it much more acceptable, understandable. The language used to be really hard to grasp. Almost like you weren't supposed to understand it. So we've changed all that. So it talks about the benefits, the merit and virtue. It describes the goodness of taking refuge. Okay, lots of analogies here. And we added this. We rejoice with you. We say, 如今当生大欢喜，生息有想，欲增甚心，相信，欲见宏愿，出烦恼幻，至菩提岸。期间所受三皈依为正是出世因出世正因，神母对师，今修修行。We rejoice, welcome you, new members of the Buddhist family. The opportunity for liberation is rare indeed. Strengthen your faith, firm up your vows, leave the abyss of afflictions, reach the shore of Bodhi. This is the actual cause for Buddhahood in the future. Be vigilant, don't cultivate vigorously. Then I say, can you carry out your instructions? You say, yes, Dharma Master, we can. I say, we've got you on camera. You can't retreat. We've got proof that you said those words. Don't forget. So that's the ritual for refuge. Okay. And this is the most of the time that we spend is done here. And there are things that I say at that point about Shifu, about the robes that you can wear. Ben is wearing his robe now, and Agwad is wearing her robe, and this is Sam and Cliff are wearing precept sashes here. Yeah, so those are options for people who take refuge. Now, at this point, people who take the 5 precepts, this ceremony is relatively brief. And you can take all 5, and we encourage you to take all 5. Precepts against taking life, stealing property, breaking marriage vows, telling lies, using intoxicants. Those are the 5. If somebody says, well, I would like to increase my commitment to my cultivation, but I can't do all 5, that's okay. If, for example, maybe you're in business, you're a business person, and you know that you can't always be entirely truthful about the products that your company sells. That's the case sometimes. That doesn't mean you can't take you can't take precepts. You can take 4 precepts, and don't take the one that you know if your livelihood involves sometimes stretching the truth. Okay, don't take that precept, take 4, etc. So it's to, let's see here. 不一戒不是指5戒，那应该是指什么意思 ？OK， 没有关系了。师父就说皈依僧、皈依佛、皈依法、皈依僧、皈依戒，你心里的意思 就愿意就跟着戒律去做，你并没有受五戒不怕。Okay, so the question is, you said take refuge, Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, precepts. What kind of precepts are we taking refuge with? Well, don't worry about it. It's the spirit. You're taking refuge with the spirit of the precepts. Okay. You haven't actually taken the precepts. Okay, where is my chat down? Let's see here. Here we go. All right. So when we do the precepts, we say the first precept for lay people is the precept against killing. Can you hold that precept to the end of your life? We say it 3 times, and that's it. We don't waste a lot of time with it. Some people within that have questions. They say things like, "Oh, does that mean I have to be a vegetarian? Oh, does that mean I can't eat eggs? Oh, what if I slap a mosquito? What if a mosquito is on my baby and I slap the mosquito to save my baby, but I break the piece?" So those are all good questions. And those are the things that's the real part about holding precepts. How does it actually work out in real life? So if you have any questions about those, this would be a perfect time to ask. So we say receiving the precepts it only takes a few minutes. Holding the precepts takes the rest of your life. Taking the precepts means you are committing to another level of ethical behavior. You're stepping up your spiritual life. And the results of those promises, to the end of my life, I will never again kill, steal, lust, lie, or drug myself, is profound. They say that with every one of the precepts, there are 5 precept protecting spirits that come with you with that, and they help you out. And that means you're in a car that spins off the road, you get extra protection. You're in a situation and your colleagues at work want to go to a bar or to a pub, you get extra protection to say, "No, that's okay. I'll drink lemonade. I'm okay. I don't need to get high. I don't get high." So things work out that allow you to continue to follow the precepts. Let's see. 在家主妇需要煮鸡蛋，算杀生吗? See, there we go. Okay. So the question is, if I am a housewife and I need to serve eggs, am I killing? Okay. Chickens come from eggs. Not every egg is a fertile egg. Many eggs have no baby chickens in them. But if you, where do chickens come from? Chickens come from eggs. We want the point of dietary regulations, like not eating eggs, has benefits on different sides. One benefit is eggs contain cholesterol. Do you all remember in Taiwan, there's a group called the Yiguandao? Okay, Yiguandao in Taiwan. They run EVA Airlines, Changlong, and Changlong Shipping. The Yiguandao is not a Buddhist group. It's quasi-Taoist group. And they are vegetarians. EVA Airlines has the best food in the air, EVA, because they are dedicated vegetarians. But they are not Buddhists, and they say eating eggs is fine. The chairperson of Changrong Eva Airlines had quadruple bypass surgery as a vegetarian because of all the eggs he ate. That cholesterol clogged up his heart arteries and veins just the same as everyone who is a meat eater. So the health aspect is one good reason not to eat eggs. Number two, they say that eggs give you protein. Well, yeah, but so do vegetables. People say, oh, we're hung up on protein. I need to eat eggs, or otherwise I don't get enough protein. Or I need to give my kids eggs so they can get into University of Queensland, so they can get into MIT, so they can get into Tsinghua Daxue. You know, if I don't feed my kid lots of protein, they won't get into Taida, you know. So no, that's just not true. Absolutely not true. The best protein, water-soluble protein, comes from plants, not from animal products. So if you were a mother chicken, would you like your future child to be seen as an omelet? Or would you like to see your future child as a chicken pecking on the ground, living under the blue sky? Of course, if you were a mother, you don't want your egg to be somebody's dinner. So think of it from the point of view of the chicken. Now, we are Buddhists. We are trying to cherish life. So if you want to be a lawyer and say, oh, in this egg, there is no baby chicken. Okay, what benefit are you getting by eating an egg? There's lots of drawbacks and not a lot of good ones. From the point of view of the chicken, if you saw where eggs come from these battery chickens that are forced to ovulate until they just become tired out, then they throw them into a roaster and they become a Kentucky Fried Chicken, you wouldn't eat eggs. The cruelty involved in forcing chickens to lay more eggs than they ever would in their lifetime is unbelievable. And I know what I'm talking about. You see the conditions in a factory farm where they stack the chickens on top of each other, so the one on top defecates on the one below, and the one below defecates on the one below. And it is the smell and the cruelty, unbelievable, so that you can have your egg, right? So find egg substitute. You say, oh, I have to cook for my husband. Just your husband will eat whatever you feed him. Tell him no more eggs. We're going to have egg substitute. That's much better. Hey, Cliff, are you seeing the comments? Can you read them for me? It's too small. So pick out a couple. If they're crazy questions, don't even bother. There's a bunch of stupid questions.
There's one question saying that if I can do what 5 precepts require, do I still need to take the precept because I already can do that?
Okay, ask in Chinese, say it in Chinese.
如果日常生活中我已经做到了五戒的要求了，但是没有受戒，这种情况下，受戒和不受戒有什么区别呢？
Okay, so let's say I will restate your question in another form. You know everything that a college graduate knows, but you never took a course, you never paid tuition, you never opened the books, you never took the exams, but you claim that you know everything a college graduate knows. Will somebody who has actually taken the course, taken the exams, read the books, paid the tuition agree? Will the professors agree? You can make that claim, but not taking refuge and taking refuge are very different, very different. You can say, I'm already a Buddha. Why not? Without even cultivating it. Will a Buddhist agree? Probably not. So you can say you live according to the precepts, I hope you do. Please do live according to the refuges and precepts. I encourage you to do that. If you really cannot take refuge and precepts, then why are you interested in Buddhism? You can still, that's fine. You can be a Buddhist sympathizer, but you are not part of the Buddhist family. And It's kind of like, I want to be in Australia, but I don't have a passport. And I can call myself, I sympathize with Australia, but I'm not an Australian till Australia says I'm an Australian. Okay, next question.
受戒后如果破戒怎么办呢？因为有一些人担心自己做不到，所以他不敢去受戒。So what happens if I take a precept and break the precept? Some people may be worried, be concerned, they couldn't do it well, so they don't take the precept.
Okay, so that's of course an important question. If we take the precepts and break the precepts, you look for the question of intention. If you took the precepts and broke them casually and carelessly and figured the Buddha didn't know, then you're probably better off not taking them. If you really, then you took them, but your attitude was not sincere. You didn't really mean that you were going to say, Jin Xing Shou, to the end of my life on that. If, because of circumstances and conditions, something came up and without meaning to, you found yourself breaking the precepts, your habits were just so strong, and you broke the precept, and the feeling in your heart was one of shame. Wow, my strength wasn't enough. I'm really ashamed. I feel I kind of can't really face the Buddha, but I want to hold the precepts. What you do is you repent. You decide how you're going to change your habits, and then you do what is called 生意戒, you take them again and try your best. So what do they say? 人非圣贤，孰能无过? People are not sages. Everybody makes mistakes. So the question is your intention. If you're a little, 辩护律师, if you're a self-aggrandizing lawyer, and you kind of, I hold the precepts, and you have your fingers crossed behind your back, then you think the Buddha doesn't know, well, you're cheating yourself. You shouldn't have done it in the first place. You don't take the precepts because you feel you have to. Okay, it should be your decision. So I was in Maryland. We have a monastery called Huayan Jingshe. It's in Maryland, near Washington, D.C. And there was a little boy, and the mother had promoted this little boy as a little Buddha. He was round-faced, chubby, was about 10 years old. And, for the last 2 years, his mother had been putting him in a precept sash and bringing him, and everybody pinched his cheek because he was a cute little chubby kid. And the mother was very much like a stage mother. She was pushing her child to be a little Buddha. And so, I hadn't been there for 2 years. So I showed up, and she signed up to have her child take refuge and the precepts. And I said, oh, I'm sorry, 10 years old, we don't transmit the precepts to 10-year-olds. Sorry, he'll have to wait till he's 18. Wait till he's 18? No, my son can take the precepts. He's perfect. He's fine. Of course he can take the precepts. And I said, no, sorry, you can't. That's not our policy. If you tell a 10-year-old child, to the end of my life, I will not break the precept against sexual misconduct, it means nothing. If you say to a child, to the end of my life, I will use no intoxicants, he's 10 years old, he's never tasted any kind of intoxicant. It's meaningless. Furthermore, if he says, when he's 10 years old, I vow to never conduct myself sexually incorrectly or use intoxicants, and then when the opportunity comes and he says, oh, my mother forced me to take the precepts when I was 10 years old, Buddhism has just ruined my life. You created a condition for him to actually harm himself by slandering. She said, no. my son can take the precept. She totally didn't accept my reasons. So I said, okay. And this is all public. She was there arguing with me while everybody around was going, maybe you shouldn't argue with the monk, about it. So this woman was really stubborn. And so I said, okay, now, I said, suppose we said your child was just extraordinary. And we know sexual misconduct and intoxicants means nothing to him. We have 3 more we could pick from. What do you suppose? I said, let's pick one. And I said, okay, suppose we say your child takes the precept against lying. To the end of his life, he's never going to lie. She said, no, but my son lies all the time. I said, exactly. He's 10 years old. Let's wait a couple of years. He can take refuge. If he is a really good disciple of the Buddha, he will create the foundation for when he matures and life is real for him, he might consider, if he still wants to, taking the precepts. Do not force anyone to say, to the end of my life, I will not kill, steal, lust. These are serious promises. But if you are ready, that's what these are for. If you take the precepts because you're singing along with Mitch, just following the that doesn't count. And I really don't encourage that. Okay, Cliff, you got another one there? A good one.
I take the refuge from another place. I take the precept from another place, but I don't know whether I can really receive that.
Okay. 中文。
我在别的地方可以说这个，但是我不知道
Okay, really good question. Notice these questions are all coming from people in countries where Buddhism has been already. So they have, in Australia, we haven't really had that many opportunities to encounter refuge and precepts. So these questions arise from places where the culture of Buddhism has already been for a while. So if you have taken refuge with another teacher, or if you've taken precepts from another teacher, and the question is, I don't know if I really got the precepts. Here's the way to think about it. When you take refuge and the precepts, they don't come from me. I am here serving as what do they say? The present day Sangha. You are taking refuge through me with the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha of the 10 directions and the 3 periods. I want to point back to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas on the altar, but even they are symbols of the actual real Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. And Master Hua said the same. They don't, the energy comes from your heart connecting to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha and the precepts of the 10 directions. So taking refuge one time works. You don't have to renew or refresh the refuges unless your teacher has died, unless your teacher has disrobed and is no longer a monk, unless your teacher is far away and you feel like you would like to make offerings, you would like to get close, ask questions, and you can't because distance intervenes or your teacher is unavailable. In China, where Buddhism has been around for a long time, sometimes like 1,000 people take refuge at once. And they didn't understand it. They were far from the microphone or the speakers. They didn't really know what was going on. And they kind of said, and it was like unclear. In those circumstances, you can take refuge again, if you'd like. That way you get a Dharma name, you have a connection to GCDR, you have a connection to Faji for Jiaozhen Hui, DRBA, Master Shen Hua. That's okay. All right. The precepts, again, if you know who your teacher was and you said the formula, you don't have to do it again. What's it like? If you got baptized as a Christian, you don't have to, it's not that the water didn't wash you clean. when you got the water on your head. It did wash you clean. You don't have to like wash again, right? 受洗不必再洗. You know, so if you took refuge and your teacher's alive and you know who it was, you don't have to do it again. Okay, does that make sense? We have time for one more, maybe? Okay.
我的问题是，如果我们受了五戒以后，是不是在受戒之后，也要有一个习惯去诵戒，才会表示记得这些我们受的戒，然后不容易去犯戒？阿弥陀佛。
So if we after we took the right precept, so in our daily life, it is important for us to recite the precept so that to remind us. So we recite the precept.
Okay. The question of reciting precept, when there's only 5, there's no formal precept recitation ceremony. For the bhikshus and for the bhikshunis, we take 250 precepts. Bhikshunis take 348, plus the Bodhisattva precepts. There's a lot. So the first of the month, lunar month, and the 15th of the lunar month, bhikshus and bhikshunis regularly have a ceremony called pratimoksha, where we recite our precepts. For a layperson who's very sincere, taking the 5 precepts, there's no formal recitation, but you can recite them every day. They're like vows. To the end of my life, you say, I will not do these things. When I made vows as a monk, as a cultivator, my own personal vows, and I recited them every morning, first thing when I got up. So that's a really wholesome practice to, as soon as, even before you get out of bed, you say, today is a perfect day to cherish life, cherish property, cherish relationships, cherish integrity, cherish wisdom. This is what I'm going to do all day. You can recite them just like that. And instead of looking at the precepts as no killing, no stealing, no, 5 no's, flip it over into positive. Say, instead of not killing, I'm going to cherish life. I'm going to appreciate my life force and the life force of every creature. Today, instead of saying no stealing, I'm going to cherish material possessions. Everybody needs things to support their lives. I'm going to make sure that other people's belongings are free from my greed, and just the way I want my belongings to be free from greed. Today, I'm going to cherish relationships. Everybody wants to have friends and kin and family who are trustworthy and dependable. I'm going to be that way myself so that others can be that. Today, I'm going to cherish integrity so that my words are true. I can stand on my word. The things I say are totally reliable. Today, I'm going to cherish wisdom and not let my mind get polluted by any kinds of substances in my bloodstream. That's really boring. You have to get high and you have to wait for your mind to cycle back and purify whatever you put in your bloodstream. So to do it that way, put the precepts in a positive light, that becomes a real affirmation. And you can do that every day. Do it every morning. Okay, thank you all. This was good. Looking forward to being part of your new journey towards closer connection with the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, and the precepts. All right. Let's say those of you, I'm going to save your questions. Your questions are very helpful for knowing what the kind of things that you want to know. And I'm going to, there's a little function right here, save the chat. Okay, I've saved all your questions and I will take them home and look at them. Thank you for your questions. And we can, people are still coming in. You're late. Hey, you're late. 你怎么来的这么晚？哎，不好意思，好意思吗？哎。 Okay, so we can transfer the merit. May every living being, our minds as one and radiant with light, share the fruits of peace with hearts of goodness, luminous and bright. If people hear and see, our hands and hearts can find in giving unity. May our minds awake to great compassion, wisdom, and to joy. May kindness find reward. May all who sorrow be their grief and pain. May this boundless light dispel the darkness of our endless night. Because our hearts are one, this world of pain turns into paradise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise. And we can make 3 half bows from where you're sitting right there. Bow to circle. 好，上弯圈一弯圈，2弯圈。Okay, third half bow. Bow in respect to the Venerable Master. First bow. Second bow. And third bow. Tomorrow at 12:30 here in the Gold Coast, we have a lecture on the Avatamsaka Sutra. 明天上午Australia 12点半，中国时间10点半，台湾时间10点半，欢迎各位上这个 Zoom 或者 YouTube 来参加。阿弥陀佛 ，Good night everybody。阿弥陀佛。Save the chat.